can see my scars, cause I'm wearing them proud. Even with my broken parts, I feel better now. If I could crawl in the mind and give any advice to my younger self, find something you can hold on to. Find someone who'll be there for you. Cause that's all that really matters in the end. Find somewhere you can come home to. Find someone that'll die for you. Cause that's all that really matters in the end. It's love, love. Cause it's all that really matters in the end.
What's going on, everyone? It's Justin here, and after a 16-hour direct flight, we've landed in Singapore for the 2022 Singapore Airlines Formula One Grand Prix. It's the first time back in 3 years, and one that people have been so excited for, and what has been on my personal bucket list as a Formula One fan for quite a while now. So when Singapore Airlines reached out, I said yes right away because it is just something that I've dreamed of. It's a unique culture, as well as modern and urban buildings that have integrated so nicely in terms of my interest. This is one of the places that has been on the top of my list for so many years now, and I want to give a huge thanks to Singapore Airlines and Visit Singapore for inviting us out here for the Formula One Grand Prix weekend. During this trip, we're going to be attending the race, but at the same time also checking out all of the major landmarks in the city, including Marina Bay Sands behind us, as well as the Super Tree Grove, and try to see the cutting edge of architecture and technology, as well as the history behind Singapore. So I really hope you guys are excited. We're here for about 5 days, which is more than enough time to see everything around. And if you guys enjoy series like this, make sure you go ahead and drop a like on this video and leave a comment down below as to what other places that we should visit next as this series carries on into 2023. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started. So I normally don't talk much about the flight experience itself, but this trip was a little different than the rest. As someone who has been on nearly 100 flights this year, there were a few airlines that I've always wanted to check out, and Singapore Airlines has consistently been one of the top rated ones in the world, with many awards to go with it. With travel being such a routine part of the job, being able to get place to place as comfortably as possible while getting the necessary sleep is the most important thing to maintaining the schedule. When I say they had great service, I mean I have never felt so welcome on a plane before in my entire life. It seemed like the staff had genuine excitement to serve us, to the point where even after we got off the plane, the flight attendants were making sure we had a way of getting to our hotel. The food was something that I was looking forward to, and with good reasons. The meals themselves were carefully crafted, and it was just very different from the experience that I typically have associated to food on the plane. They also had snacks available throughout the flight that you could order at any time, as well as an array of different drinks and cocktails available, which were tailored towards recovery and hydration, which is very important when flying a ton, and especially on such a long flight. The seats were very comfortable, and after enjoying all of the amazing food and going through the infotainment system, it was time to get some rest because I had just landed back from Europe before heading on the 16-hour direct flight from Vancouver to Singapore. We landed bright and early in the morning, and I felt so ready and energized to head straight to the track for the practice session of the Formula One Grand Prix. So the itinerary for this weekend was a little different because of the fact that it was a night race. It meant that unlike other races we had been to, we had a ton of time to wander around and explore the city throughout the day, and we took full advantage in seeing all of the must-see landmarks that Singapore has to offer. I'm sure you've seen before the Gardens by Marina Bay. This is a mix of futuristic architecture, and the natural lush tropical rainforest was really unique. The Cloud Forest exhibit featured an indoor waterfall and rainforest environment loaded with flowers, with all the stunning walkways through the trees. It was a super unique experience that you have to check out. One of the most important viewpoints that you can also see from across the marina is the Super Tree Grove. Not only is it a cool experience to check out from the ground, but also walking along the observation deck, you can see all the different layers of greenery that Singapore has implemented into the urban city. It is also a very beautiful sight at night. Just walking near the base of the trees is really impressive to see the magnitude of them all. We also met up with my friend Shai, who's the photographer and videographer for Alfa Romeo, and we got to chat a bit about F1 as well as all of the travels throughout the year on the race calendar, where we've actually met up a few times during this crazy schedule. Overall, the city is packed with stunning activities, and we took the full advantage of trying to experience it all, but this was just the start. After a couple days of exploring, it was finally race day. The Singapore Grand Prix is a highlight on the calendar that many Formula 1 fans had told me to check out at some point because the night race and street race experience is just different from the rest. As we showed up to the track for the race, we entered through the Padang entrance, which was the main stage where Kid Laroi was performing, and I really wanted to check that out. As we walked into the concert, you could see a big dark cloud coming just a few hours before the start of the race. It started to pour for many hours like nothing I've seen before, and everyone was just frantically navigating the muddy field and also trying to take cover under the bridge. Rain, of course, always makes the race very interesting, and the start was delayed by an hour. As the sky cleared up a little bit, the track was still damp, but overall it was a really exciting race with multiple yellow flags and an incredible battle between Leclerc and Perez for the majority of the race. We were able to enjoy this race from multiple different angles, whether it was from the ground or from above, and that's what makes the street races so special. It was just such a lively atmosphere, and it wrapped up with a beautiful display of fireworks in the marina. Being able to attend Formula 1 races all around the world is really what makes it the most exciting outside of the actual race element. Seeing the differences between a European race with a Canadian, an American race as well, and also with the Singaporean Grand Prix being in that night setting, just has me very excited each year because there is still so much to explore. The race was just such an interesting spectacle, and having the track run through in the heart of the city with the skyline in the back was really cool, and Singapore is also known for its unique architecture. Its blend of futuristic and modern style with old traditional buildings is why I've wanted to visit this place for so many years. Seeing as it's a relatively new city altogether, they've built the majority of it in the last century, and it's grown a tremendous amount. That being said, they also have implemented a ton of natural vegetation in architecture itself, as well as a ton of parks and gardens all over the city. What I noticed is that it's such an easy city to navigate. Everything is very walkable and close by, and even if you're in a large corporate building, there's still many floors that have been dedicated to beautiful viewpoints and just an area to decompress during the day. One of them that we visited was Capita Spring Building, and we were stunned by how unique it was, and as you walk through the public workspaces, you'll find a ton of nice seating and work areas surrounded by lush plants and stunning walkways. It was one of the first buildings that I noticed when we were driving to our hotel in the city. Park Royal is also a postcard building, which has different layers that have been built up throughout all the different levels on the front viewpoint, and it's honestly one of the most impressive architectural feats that I've seen to date. Just walking along the water and feeling that breeze and seeing all the stunning buildings really stood out each day as we tried to check out different areas but also visit the same places a few times. What was so unique about Singapore is that the urban elements are very well implemented with older architecture and elements of culture as well. Exploring the Clark's Quay as well as Little India showed how vibrant and unique the local culture was, and it seemed like every time you turned a corner, the street had its own different personality, and you can definitely sense the influence of every culture, especially in the more residential parts of the city. When I posted that I was in Singapore, I got so many messages telling me that I have to go and try the Singapore hawker street markets. This is where you can find world famous street food that has all different types of cuisines at a very affordable price, but just a very authentic experience that you expect from Asia. There was just so much to choose from, and everything tasted amazing. And even though we went to a few different markets, there were key staples that you could find in each one that was unique, but also have a go-to meal that you've enjoyed many times before. I met up with my friend Sebastian and his dad, who actually grew up in Singapore, and so he ordered a bunch of signature dishes for us to try out, and they did not disappoint, as well as some specialized desserts such as the grass jelly, which is something that I really want to go back to already. What I really loved about the hawker street markets is that they're so well integrated within the city of Singapore. You've got fine dining just across the street, paired up with so many options in these specific markets. Overall, the experience was undeniable, and it was an incredible 5 days filled with so much food and fun, and aside from just how beautiful of a place it was, I think the food is what really has me going back. On the flight back home, we got up bright and early so we could check out the world-famous Changi Airport Jewel and Indoor Waterfall, only to find out that it wasn't actually open until we were airborne. We then made our way to the Singapore Airlines Business Class lounge, which is actually newly renovated, and it was absolutely stunning. There's a business class section as well as a first class suite that have been segmented in a way that offers you that full experience that Singapore has to give. There are so many areas to work and hang out, and even so early in the morning, there were a ton of food choices to pick from. And like I said, after traveling mostly through North America and Europe, the whole experience and approach that Singapore Airlines and what Asia has to offer in their airports is just a completely different approach. Everything went so smoothly along this trip, the service was incredible, and as we got on the plane, it was time to head on a 14-hour flight back home. We took off at 7 a.m. and landed at 6:45 a.m. back home, which was really weird, but because of how amazing of a flight experience it was, I was able to get right back to work at 9 a.m. So as you can tell, Singapore is an amazing place that I definitely encourage everyone to visit at some point in their lifetime, and paired up with the flight experience, with the culture and cuisine that we were able to enjoy, along with the Formula One race, we couldn't have written it any better. It's one of these opportunities that YouTube has been able to bring me that I will continue to remember for the rest of my life and always look back and through this video that I hope you guys really enjoyed. We have so much more content coming up in this travel industry, so if you guys have any recommendations as to where we should check out, make sure you let me know in the comment section below. And if you're a brand out there that would like us to attend a trip, feel free to send me an email, and we just really enjoy making videos like this.